John Harbaugh is a New York football giant, something I will never get tired of saying. On today's show, I'm going to give you my biggest takeaways from his press conference that just wrapped up moments ago. But if you're feeling nicey like I am and you want to show some love to John Harbaugh and the channel, get your t-shirts today because we're playing Harbaugh ball at 1925 Giants Drive. That means there's an expectation to win. Get the shirt at chatsports.com/HarbaughNYG. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and I still can't believe it. John Harbaugh is our head football coach. What a day today has been. Watching him control that room at the press conference was something that we have not seen in a long, long time. He walked in there and he let everybody know, I'm the man, this is my football team, and I'm going to bring some success and some wins to this organization. Let's start with this. The New York football Giants are back. And I say that because the New York football Giants are back. And that is the name that we are going to use for this team because that is what John Harbaugh calls the New York Giants, saying this: it's a profound honor to be trusted with the responsibility of coaching the New York football Giants. That's exactly how he said it. My dad taught me they were the New York football Giants. They weren't just the Giants. They were the New York football Giants. Hearing him say that, it just gives me chills. I've been calling them the football Giants my entire life, and there will be every once in a while someone in the comments section, Marshall, they're the Giants, and we know they play football, the baseball, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I'm saying that because the name is back, but this team and this organization, because of this man, is going to get back to being what those football Giants were with this guy on the sideline. Saying this: we're here with one mission, to earn the right to be called the world champions in New York. The expectation is now to win, just like it was when you were the New York football Giants. Harbaugh adding this: the plan is to win every game. I mean, look, one game at a time. You go into every game, though, game planning to win that game. That's our expectation. That's what we will be expecting to do. But we've got to earn the right to expect that by how we go to work and prepare and what kind of team that we make ourselves into. You no longer, Giants fans, have to wake up on Sundays hoping to win. John Mara, you no longer have to hope that your teams win football games. The expectation is to win. And that is what John Harbaugh is bringing to the Giants. A winning culture, a leader, but someone that knows what it takes to win football games. He's won more than 180 games in the regular season. He's won 13 games in the playoffs. And he's won the big one. The first time the Giants have ever hired a head coach that won a Super Bowl elsewhere. The New York football Giants are back. And I know we said that's the name, but a lot more comes with that. Winning, physical, toughness, and defense. And that is what the Giants are going to get back to. John Harbaugh also says the Giants' focus is on building a team that is physical and tough, capable of overwhelming their opponents from beginning to end, and especially at the end. And that is smart and disciplined. The Giants have flipped a switch. They are no longer the butt of the joke, but they are once again royalty in this league. That is what John Harbaugh does. You're no longer a joke. You're no longer the team that's going to be tanking in week 16, 17, or 18, or talks of tanking. You're going to expect to win games in September, October, November, December, January, and maybe even you'll get that fifth win in February. Harbaugh also saying this, which gave me chills down my spine. If you love football, you're going to want to be here. If there's guys around that don't love football, Joe, talking to Joe Shane, we're probably going to get rid of those guys, and they're going to go play somewhere else. If you don't love football, you're not going to love it here. And that's a major change for this organization. It's one thing to be like, oh, we want guys that hate losing. We want guys that want to win. No. We want people that love football. Everything about football, from preparation to actually playing, taking care of your body, and doing whatever it takes every single day to go and win a football game on Sunday. You better love football. You better love all the ugly things about football. Going to the training table at 5 a.m., then going to a meeting at 6:30 a.m., and then watching tape at 7:30 a.m., and then out on the practice field at 8:30 a.m., and then you do all that after as well. If you're not all in, if you don't love this game, John Harbaugh said it, you're not going to be a Giant. Right, Joe? And it's pretty obvious at this point, this is a John Harbaugh-led football team. And I don't just mean at the head coach spot. It's a John Harbaugh operation from top to bottom. What he says, it goes. He's the head man. He's the boss. Right, Joe? He also, Chris Mara said this, saying he calls John Harbaugh the most important cog in the wheel when asked about the role that he'll play. He adds that decision-making will be a collaborative process between ownership, general manager, and the head coach. But don't get it twisted. He's the most important cog in the wheel. He also said, when talking about John Harbaugh reporting to ownership instead of Joe Schoen, we're comfortable doing this with him. With anybody else, it might not have happened that way. Everyone was in agreement. We are good. And John Harbaugh will tell you that was a little bit overblown, talking about, well, I didn't really care too much, and blah, blah, blah. It says it's really not that important. It's overblown. It's just a little bit in terms of how it works. We all report to the boss, and the boss is ownership. Right, Joe? Well, John Harbaugh can say that, but we know that that may not be true, and we know that it took the Giants officially giving him that luxury, I guess you would say. Ian O'Connor says, Chris Mara confirmed to me here at the Giants presser that John Mara didn't decide to grant John Harbaugh his request for a direct report to ownership until Saturday. Quote from Chris Mara, my brother just felt it was time for that change. Remember, the news was announced on a Wednesday night. The deal didn't get signed until Saturday. I wonder why the deal did not get signed until Saturday. And damn right, and it's great news that it didn't happen, because John Harbaugh got it in writing that he reports to the boss, and he's the boss of everybody else. And this is his football team. He gets to decide how they play. He gets to decide who's on this football team and everything else. You went from a Joe Schoen operation to a John Harbaugh operation. And as pumped up as we all are about what he's going to be able to do as the head coach of this football team, we should all be more fired up about what he's going to do for the New York Football Giants in totality. And Joe Schoen knows it. Joe Schoen told the media as he had kind of a press conference to the side, quote, I'm looking forward to working with him, and I'll probably learn some things from him as well. And Joe knows what it is. Joe said, I've been in this league 26 years. I know they got to work together with the head coach and the GM. But I also thought it was pretty damn funny that John Harbaugh essentially was talking to Joe Schoen like he was the boss. Right, Joe? If that player doesn't love football, he's not on this football team. He's going to go play somewhere else. Right, Joe? Like, you are no longer a Joe Schoen-led football team. He still has power, but this guy right here, he is the face of this organization. A lot more to talk about. First, though, I got to give a major shout-out to our proud sponsor of today's show, and that is Prize Picks. The big game is right around the corner, and you all need to get hooked up with them. And they've got an awesome, awesome deal as well. When you play your first $5 lineup, they're going to hook you up with $50 even if you don't win. Play $5, get $50. And to unlock that, you got to use the promo code CLNS. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action right before the season ends. So close this season out right with Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. It's the #1 daily fantasy sports app in the game, and it's super simple. All you do is select more or less on players' stat lines. The lineup that we are rolling with this week, we are taking the more on Drake May passing yards. We're going to take the less on Jarrett Stidham. We'll also take the more on passing yards for Matthew Stafford and Sam Darnold. You can roll with my picks or fade my picks. Just do it at Prize Picks. With new social media features, you can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right. One of my biggest takeaways as well is the job for John Harbaugh, it starts right now. And he knows that. And he knows that there's a lot of work to do. And it sounds like this week is going to be decision time for not only who is going to be the coordinators, but also who may be staying and who may be going. John Harbaugh said interviews for the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and coaching positions on this staff will start tomorrow. We've already heard rumors that Anthony Weaver is going to be involved in the defensive coordinator search. We've heard Jim Leonard is a name to monitor as well. So keep your eyes on those two. The New York Giants have also requested Durante Jones for the defensive coordinator job. He works as an assistant on the Minnesota Vikings staff right now. We've also heard some things about Todd Monken as well. And Harbaugh said that he will meet with the current staff this week to decide if he is going to bring them back or if they are going to leave and no longer be employed by the New York Giants. There's been a lot of talk about what the Giants will do with Carmen Bracillo. We'll touch on that coming up momentarily. But Gary Myers with this inside scoop saying John Harbaugh is sticking around the Giants for now to assemble his coaching staff. A private plane was leaving after his press conference to take his wife Ingrid back to Baltimore and then continuing on to Michigan, take his parents Jack and Jackie back to Ann Arbor. Job starts now. John Harbaugh knows that, and he's going to start filling out his staff. Dan Duggan of The Athletic tweeting out, I was told the New York Giants have strongly recommended offensive line coach Carmen Bracillo. Don't expect Harbaugh to import his offensive line coach from Baltimore, saying so it could be a match for Carmen Bracillo to stay. And on WFAN, shout out to the Evan and Tiki show, I think it was Sean Marash on there pretty much said you should keep Carmen Bracillo. And he said, I've heard that. Got a lot of recommendations from there. So maybe Bracillo does stay as the O-line coach. It's also pretty obvious that Harbaugh wants Monken. He didn't say it on the official press conference, but on WFAN, kind of hinted at that, saying he loved working with him, loved what he did with the offense. Go look at the numbers. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's the next offensive coordinator. Now, if he gets a head coach job with the Browns, obviously that's not going to happen. But if he doesn't get that job, I think he will land here as the OC. I didn't want the press conference to end. And it wasn't like your prototypical press conference for head coaches. Like, you go back to the Joe Judge press conference. That was a speech. He was selling himself. He was letting you know who he is, where he came from, what he was about, what he was going to do, how this team was going to play, how this team was going to look, how they were going to operate, what he was going to do. And Brian Dable did a similar type of thing. But John Harbaugh, you would have thought this was his 15th year where he was the new head coach every year, and he's done this 15 times. John's comfortable in who he is. He knows he doesn't have to sell anybody on who he is. All you got to do is type in John Harbaugh Wikipedia, and it'll come up. 180 wins as a head coach with the Ravens, a Super Bowl champion, 13 wins in the playoffs, 8 on the road, the most in NFL history. He didn't have to go out there with an awesome speech to win the press conference. He just went in there, and he was being himself. And he won the press conference. You can tell why he's been so successful. You can tell why players loved playing for him, why players were crying once he was fired from Baltimore, and why the New York Giants did everything they possibly could to make him the next head coach of this football team. I can't believe that John Harbaugh is a Giant. I would jokingly tweet out memes and photoshops of John Harbaugh wearing Giants gear in September saying, hey, Ravens just lost. Oh, Ravens just lost again. Oh, we're going to lose our coach. And it was a pipe dream. And we're living it. And it's a reality. John Harbaugh is a New York football Giant. I can't believe it. Credit to John Mara. Credit to Chris Mara, who sounds like an unsung hero and all of this. I think I saw that he also had another trip scheduled on Saturday to go meet with John Harbaugh to get the deal done. And the deal got done. And credit to Joe Shane as well, and I hope he's all right. I don't know what was going on at the start of the press conference. I don't know if he was nervous. I don't know if he was anxious. I don't know if he was too excited or what. I hope he's all right, and he does deserve credit. The New York Giants landed John Harbaugh as their next head coach. And if you're ready for him to go win some games for this organization, to see him wearing that Giants blue and get back to being a blue blood organization, like John Harbaugh said, that's one of the most iconic brands in all of sports. Hit that thumbs up icon right now. Shout out to everybody that's been watching these videos. We appreciate you. Subscribe to the channel and give me a follow on social media at @MarshallGreen_.